Welcome. I am Grace. So excited to have you here for this class on inversions. And with the inversions, we're going to be bringing a lot of oxygen and vitality to the upper body. So we're going to begin in easy pose. And I want to remind you that yoga is about allowing, not forcing and striving. And we are not meant to feel pain in yoga. If you're feeling discomfort, pain, or you simply need a rest, you have permission at any time during this practice to rest and to only practice the poses that work for you. Listen to your body and follow your body. You can rest in child's pose, you can rest in a supine position, laying on the ground, or just easy pose, or whatever posture works for you for a rest. And we are sitting here in easy pose. You can put a little cushion underneath your hips to get your hips a little higher. It's more comfortable. And we're going to close our eyes and take our awareness inward and enter into breath awareness. Just noticing the breath without changing it. Just becoming aware of the natural rhythm of our own breath cycle. And while we sit in breath awareness, I invite you to scan your body, dive inside your being, and from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, begin to scan the body. You can go all the way down the body and back up, just noticing without judgment or even description, just noticing the felt sense within your being at this moment in time. And I invite you now to take this moment to set an intention for your practice, a personal intention. It could be for the practice, this day, this year. It could be a lifetime intention. I invite you to set that intention silently to yourself now. Beautiful, and gently opening your eyes. We're going to do a little bit of pranayama practice before we begin the asana practices and the poses. So I'd like you to begin with simple belly breathing. So as you inhale, just like if you pour water into a glass, it's going to drop down to the bottom of the glass. So let that oxygen and that breath drop down to the pelvic floor and the lower abdomen. So as we inhale, you're going to feel that abdomen expand out. And as you exhale, it's going to come back in towards the spine. Simple belly breaths. Let's take a few belly breaths together now at your own pace. Breathing into the lower abdomen triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation response. One more breath into the belly. And we're going to move into 3-part yogic breaths. So we're going to inhale into that belly first. And like a wave, we're going to move that breath up into the ribs. Still inhaling and inhaling all the way into the chest, even the claviculars. Holding for a moment and exhale. Let's do one more together and let you do a couple on your own at your own pace. Inhaling into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. Pause a moment and exhale. Doing a couple more at your own pace. 3-part yogic breaths. One more breath. And releasing that breath. We do one more pranayama, Nadi Shodhanam. And this is alternate nostril breathing. We're going to bring the pointer and middle finger to that third eye, that point right between our brows. And we're going to use the thumb and the fingers to alternately close off the nostrils. So let's all exhale together. We got the right hand on this mudra. Let's take the right thumb to close off the right nostril. Inhaling through the left nostril. Releasing the thumb, bringing the finger down to the left nostril and exhale through the left side. Inhaling same side. Releasing the finger, bringing the thumb to the right nostril and exhale out the left. We always switch fingers on the exhale. Inhale, same side. And switch, releasing the thumb, bringing the finger down and exhaling out the right. And do a few more at your own pace. One more breath. And releasing the hands. Beautiful job. Just resting the hands on the knees. They can either be palm down or palm up. You can even take that chin mudra with the thumb and forefinger touching. And we're going to move into a little bit of neck stretches. So we're just going to bring that neck and rest it down over to the left side. And pause there a moment. And then nice and slowly bringing up and over to the right side. And keeping the breath flowing and just moving side to side, nice and slowly. We'll do it one more time on each side. And when you get to one side, you take your hand and put it on your head and just very gently giving it a little bit deeper stretch. Taking a breath here. And releasing the hand, releasing the head over to the other side. And again, taking that hand and just very gently, just a little bit more stretch on that side. And coming back to center. Beautiful job. And now we're going to do a little bit of pelvic grind. So let's bring the hands to the knees, palms down, and we're going to do circles. So we're just going to circle around front, over to the side, and back. Nice pelvic grinds. Do one more this direction and we'll move to the other direction. And let's move to the other direction, both ways. Keeping the breath flowing. Let's do one more on this side. And coming up to center. Beautiful job. And we're going to do a little seated pelvic lift. So we're going to bring the hands behind us. The fingers are facing towards the buttocks, coming in nice and strong on our arms. And we're going to keep those feet in easy pose, cross-legged. We're going to push into the hands and shoulders and lift the pelvis up. And taking a couple breaths here. And the head isn't dropping back, but it can rest back a little and we're holding it. One more breath. Beautiful. Coming back down. Good job. Beautiful. Now we're going to move into our Surya Namaskara C, Sun Salutation C. So we're going to come up into a standing position. We're going to come to the front of our mat. I'll bring my mat back a little bit. You can see my hands. And we're going to come to the forward of the mat into our mountain posture, feeling our feet hip width apart and feeling that center of gravity, the weight resting on the front and backs of the feet, both sides, the inner and outer sides of the mat. We're going to feel a nice engaging of the calves, a lifting and engaging of the knees, feeling those thighs engage, those quadriceps, bringing that pelvis to neutral, tucking that tailbone on maybe just a little, bringing the belly in, feeling a lift of the ribs. And we're going to feel the shoulders drop down away from the ears as we inhale and bring those arms up into an extended mountain. And again, drop those shoulders away from the ears. Inhale into our mountain. Exhale, forward fold, bringing those hands wide out into angel wings, sticking the tailbone out now, and we're going to hinge forward at the hips. And the last thing to come down is going to be the head. Beautiful job. And you can bring the hands down to the mat, or if you need a block, you can do that. You can also take those hands and grasp the elbows. Let's take a breath in forward fold. Uttanasana. We're going to bring the hands down to the feet, and we're going to take that right leg back behind us in a nice lunge position. Front knee is right over the front ankle. We're going to come up, little micro bend in the knee, coming up, and straighten that knee back, bring the heel back into a nice high lunge, squaring those hips. That right hip might need to move forward just a little, and bringing the arms up above, dropping the shoulders down, checking that knee again, just making sure it does not go forward of the ankle. You can engage those bandhas and breathe. One more deep breath, inhaling up. And we're going to exhale, bringing those hands down to the floor, bringing the front leg back into our down dog. Beautiful. Third breath. Beautiful. And taking 3 deep breaths here in this nice inversion, relaxing the head in between the arms. The heels are coming toward the mat. Tailbone is up and thigh bones are back. And breathe. One more breath in our down dog. Beautiful. And we're going to move into a plank position. Pushing into those hands, engaging those shoulders. And you can come down either in chaturanga, just come lowering in your plank, or knees, chin, or chest. And hinging forward, rolling over into those feet, and moving into an up dog. A deep breath here. And exhaling back into down dog. Beautiful. Tailbone is up, thighs are back. 3 deep breaths in our down dog. On your next inhale, you're going to lift the head and you're going to lift the heart. And we're going to bring that right leg up into a high lunge. Lunge again and prepare for our high lunge. Feet are parallel to the floor. And you can microbend that back knee as you lift up to the thigh. Straighten the back knee, drop the back heel. Knee back over the ankle. Squaring those hips. And let's bring those arms up into a high lunge. And let's take a couple breaths here. One more inhale, reaching up. And exhale, bringing those hands on either side of the front foot. And let's bring that back foot up to meet the front, back in our forward fold. Taking a breath here, a nice inversion. Option is to grab those elbows. Then on your next inhale with big angel wings, lifting the head first, the heart, hinging all the way back up into your mountain. And we're going to do one more with a few more variations. Inhaling into mountain. Exhaling forward fold. Stick that tailbone out and hinge at the hips with the giant angel wings to protect that lower back. Bringing our hands down to the mat in our Uttanasana. And we're going to take that right hand and bring it right forward and in the middle of the feet. And we're going to take the left arm for a nice little twist and bringing it straight up. Beautiful job. And let's take a breath here. Next inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming down and bringing that left hand right in the middle, right in front of the feet. And inhaling the right arm up. And let's take a breath here. Inversion and twist. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, coming down. Beautiful job. And bring those thumbs next to the little toes again, lifting the head and the heart. And let's bring that right leg back behind us. And we're going to come up into our high lunge, bringing that back heel to the floor, squaring the hips, knees right over the front ankle, front knee over the front ankle. And breathe. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming down, bringing those hands down to the mat. And we're going to straighten that front leg, going to another little inversion called pyramid, bringing the head in towards the shin and the knees. And breathe. Beautiful. Keeping the hands firmly planted on the mat, lifting the head and the heart. And let's take that left leg back into a nice lunge. A nice down dog, sorry. Tailbone sticking up, thighs back. Let's do a little walking the dog for a couple breaths here. Dropping one heel at a time down to the mat, stretching those calves, keeping the breath flowing. Coming back to center, let's hinge back into our plank position. And let's do either chaturanga or knees, chin, and chest. I'm going to do knees, chin, and chest this time. And we're going to come up into up dog, or you can choose to come up into cobra. Up dog, the thighs are lifted up off the floor. It's a little more challenging. Cobra, those thighs are resting on the mat. And breathe. Pressing into the hands. Chest is open. And nice deep inhale, lifting the chest. And exhale, rolling over those feet and coming back into our down dog. Beautiful job. Pressing those heels down towards the mat. And let's take a couple breaths here. On your next inhale, we're going to lift the head and the heart. Step, walk, or jump that right hand in front between the hands. And we are going to go into another high lunge. So you can micro bend that back knee as you lift up to your front thigh. Straighten the back knee, bring the back heel to the floor, bring that body straight, torso straight, up aligned, squaring those hips. Front knee is right over the front ankle. And we're going to bring those arms up into a high lunge, dropping the shoulders down. Engaging those bandhas, and let's do a couple breaths here. Next inhale, reaching up. And exhale, bringing the hands down to the mat, bringing that front foot back to meet the left, meet the right in our nice Uttanasana, forward fold. And we can, for an option, clasp those hands behind us and reach them up. Similar to a standing yoga mudra. One more breath. And releasing the hands down, lifting the head, lifting the heart. Giant angel wings hinging back up to Tadasana, mountain posture. And we're going to do one more sun salutation to breath. So we're going to inhale up into our mountain. Exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hips. Inhale, we're going to come to a halfway lift. Exhale, coming back down. Inhale, right leg back into a lunge. And you can stay down with the hands on the mat or bring the hands all the way up. Exhale, folding forward into our downward facing dog. And here is our Xander, finally. Inhale, swooping right up into an up dog. And exhaling into our down dog. Inhale, right leg up between the hands, coming up into a high lunge. Exhale into forward fold, Tadasana. And inhale, lifting the head and the heart, coming back to Tadasana. And let's bring those hands in front of the heart. In Anjali Mudra for a moment and close our eyes and bring our awareness inside the body. Scanning the inner being again, bringing some attention, noticing what's going on inside. Noticing any sensations within your being. Beautiful. Releasing the hands. And we're going to come now to a nice wide stance. Bringing the feet wide, facing the long edge of the mat. And we're going to go into some wide leg inversion here. And I'd like to begin with a goddess. This isn't an inversion, but it's a nice prep for our wide leg inversion. Let's bring both feet out a little bit and heels in for our goddess. Bend the knees right over the feet. Come into a squat and find your squat. It may be way down low. It may be way up high or something in between. Bringing the hands up, facing either yourself or facing out to the world. Engaging those bandhas, and let's breathe. One more breath in goddess. Beautiful. Bringing the hands to the waist, straightening the legs. And we're going to move into wide leg forward fold, another inversion. So we're going to first stick the tailbone out because we're going to be hinging at the hips. So hinging down, the head will be the last thing, rolling the spine and allowing the head to come down. And you can bring those hands down to the mat. Really relax that head. Taking a breath here. I invite you to walk the hands over to the left foot, the left leg, feeling a nice stretch there. You may want to bend that left knee, keeping the breath flowing. And straightening that knee, and over to the right side. Getting a nice stretch on that right leg. Option to bend that knee, feel a different kind of stretch. And option to come to the center and just bending either knee side to side, finding your own pace. Feeling a nice stretch on the inner thighs. Keeping the breath flowing. Coming back to center. And there's an option here if you can't come to the floor is to come to the block. And you can also come down even more so, widen the legs and come down to the forearms. Then coming back to the hands, staying in your wide leg, forward fold. We're going to bring the hands right in the center, out in front of us. Let's take the right hand, place that right in the center. Twisting over to the left as you lift the left arm up. And breathe. Inhaling, reaching that left arm up, and exhaling, bringing it to center. And again, we're going to bring the right arm up, twisting and opening, and breathe. Inhaling, reaching that right arm up, exhaling it back down. I'm going to do one more thing while we're in this nice wide leg forward fold inversion. Take those hands and start walking them back and see if you can bring those hands back behind the feet and legs. As far back as allows without forcing, without any pain. Just playing that edge. And let's take a couple breaths here. Beautiful job. Walking those hands back to center. Going to bring those hands back to the waist. Lift the head first, the heart. Coming all the way back up into standing position. And let's walk those feet together. Beautiful job. Excuse me. Nice sneeze. And we're going to go down to the floor now. So we're going to come to the front of our mat. And we are going to do another standing yoga mudra. I love the yoga mudras because yoga mudra is honoring the heart. The head is lower than the heart. And so we put the heart on the highest place. So let's clasp those hands behind us, hinging down, bringing the head down. Arms are coming up, and breathe. One more deep breath. And releasing the hands down to the mat. Coming up onto our knees, we're going to prepare for a camel pose. So we're going to come up onto the knees. And the first thing we're going to do with our camel is we're going to tuck that tailbone under because we're going to be going into a back bend. And we want to open up those lumbar vertebrae. So bringing either hand to the small of the back. And then pushing those hips forward a little bit, opening up the chest, bringing the head back slightly. We're not going to drop the head back. That doesn't do any benefit. It just bringing it so we're holding it. And the option, you can stay right here in your camel, and the option is to bring the hands down to the heels. And let's take a couple breaths here. On your next inhale, coming up, bringing the hands back to the small of the back. And we're going to move into a child's pose. You can open up those knees, allow the belly and the chest to rest in, bringing the hands alongside, and breathe. And this is a little inversion too. And one more breath in child's pose. And gently and kindly coming up to seated position, we're going to bring the feet out in front of us and do a couple seated forward folds. So we're going to begin with a single leg forward fold. Right leg is straight out, left leg bends with the sole of the left foot resting on the inner thigh of the right foot. And we're going to find that hinge on the hips and gently hinging forward. And we're going to hinge at the hip without moving any other joint in the body until we feel that edge, never forcing. And then we're going to round the spine, allow the head to come in towards the knee. And breathe. Holding and playing on that edge. And inviting yourself to see if you can hinge a little deeper now that you've held it, that edge for a moment. For one more deep breath. And slowly and kindly coming back up. And we're going to switch sides. Right leg straight out. Left leg is curled in. Switch to the other side for our single leg forward fold. Again, finding that hinge and hinging forward. Only the hip joint is moving right now. When you find that edge, that gentle edge, allow the spine to round. And relax into this forward fold and breathe. You may even be able to bring the hands to the feet and give them a little massage. A few deep breaths here. See if you can hinge at the hips a little bit deeper after holding that edge. One more deep breath. On the next inhale, coming all the way back up. And let's bring both feet together in our butterfly, Baddha Konasana, opening up those feet like a book, pressing those heels down towards the floor. Let's flap those butterfly wings for a moment. And then come into stillness, inhaling, extending the spine, and exhaling, folding forward, hinging at the hips, finding your edge, and just resting here for a couple breaths. Beautiful. Coming back to center. Let's bring both legs out for a double leg forward fold. Bringing the hands by the hips for a moment. You can even flex those feet in a staff pose. And inhaling, elongating that spine, exhaling, folding forward. When you can't fold any further on the hips, you can allow the spine to round. Bringing the head in towards the knees. You can grab the feet, that's great. If not, that's fine too. Everyone's body is different. Couple breaths here. And inhaling up. Beautiful job. Let's bring those feet to a wide position, as wide as you can without forcing. It's comfortable. Finding that edge. And again, inhaling up and exhaling, folding forward. And you can fold forward to a block. Or if you can come down onto your elbows and forearms, clasping the hands. Let's take 2 breaths here. Next inhale, coming up. Beautiful job. And let's bring those feet together and we're going to move into some shoulder stands. Beautiful inversions. And we are going to start with just a supported shoulder stand, Salamba Sarvangasana. So let's rest so that we're on our back. Hands to the side. And we'll just start by bringing both legs up. And for some people, this is the extent of their shoulder stand. And if this is where you're at, that's okay. Just hold this shoulder stand. And if you want, you can go up against a wall and sit in legs against the wall, legs up against the wall. If you want to challenge yourself into the Sarvangasana postures, we're going to lift those hips, place your hands on the small of the back, feet are up straight and touching in our Salamba Sarvangasana, supported shoulder stand. Let's take a couple breaths here. Beautiful rest on the veins, the flow of blood naturally coming down to the upper body. We're going to move now into Ekapada Sarvandasana. With that left leg remaining straight up, lifting up, we're going to take the right foot and we're going to begin to hinge it down towards the mat. One-legged shoulder stand. Taking a breath here. Inhaling that right leg back up. Beautiful job. And now with the right leg extending up, we're going to take the left leg and bring that down to the floor behind the head. Taking a nice deep breath here. Bringing that left leg up into our supported shoulder stand. And now we are going to move into our Prasana Saramvasana, bringing our legs to the side. So let's take the left leg and we're going to hinge that left foot out to the side, externally rotating the left leg and bringing that left leg down. Taking a breath here. And bringing that leg back up. And let's go to the other side, turning that right leg to the side Externally rotating the right leg. Let's bring that right leg down to the floor. Keeping the left leg extended up. Let's take a breath here. Inhaling that right leg back up. And we're going to move now into Halasana Plow. So we're going to hinge at the hips, bringing both feet together back behind the head. And your feet may or may not reach the floor. That's okay. And we have our Sun Halasana. And we're going to walk those legs, both legs to the left. Taking a breath here. Core of the body and head are centered. And now walking those feet back to center. And we're going to walk them over to the right. Both feet together. Another option is to bring both feet out to either side in a nice wide open split. Taking a nice deep breath here. Beautiful job. And we're going to roll down, bring those hands down to the mat, palms to the mat. Let's bend those knees into the chest and nice and slowly rolling down. So we're flat on our back. Extending those legs out. Both hands on the floor with the palms on the mat. We're going to move into our Matsyasana, fish pose. We're going to bring both hands under the buttocks, palms down, pressing into the elbows. Snugging those elbows into the body, pressing into the elbows as you lift the chest, and we gently bring the head down to the floor. And let's take a couple breaths here. And releasing down onto the mat, releasing both hands from under the buttocks. And let's bring those knees up, feet on the mat. Bring that small of the back nice and flat on the mat. And then bring the knees into the chest and give them a little hug. Then you can rock back and forth. Beautiful job. And now coming up into a seated position. And we are going to go into our shoulder stand preparation, our headstand preparation. We're going to go into our Sarasana, Salamba Sarasana, and we are going to do a little bit of preparation first. So we're going to do a low lunge preparation and a dolphin preparation. So we're going to begin in a table position, tabletop. Arms are right under the shoulders, knees are right under the hips. And we're going to bring those elbows down to the mat, parallel to each other. But we're going to measure and check our measurement and make sure those arms are forearm width apart. The hands coming to the elbows, and then bring them back, bringing both arms back so that they're parallel to one another. And we're going to move into our plank. So we're going to tuck those tailbone and those toes under, lift those legs up into a plank, not a down dog, but a plank. And we're going to hold for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Dropping those knees down and coming into a child's posture. Either extended child, active child, or you can bring a hand alongside. One more breath in child's pose. We're going to come back up and we're going to move into the same posture. So we're going to drop those elbows down right underneath the shoulders. Let's measure. Perfect. Bring them parallel. Going to go into that, curling those toes under and lifting up into a plank, a low plank right here. And we are going to build some strength by bringing the knee to the chest. So bring the right knee to the chest and back. And let's bring the left knee to the chest and back. That is 1. We'll do 5. Right knee, left knee, 2. Right knee, left knee, 3. Right knee, left knee, 4. One more. Right knee, left knee, 5. And let's bring those heels down and move into our child's pose. One more breath in child's pose. And coming back up. And we are going to bring our arms in the same position. So we're going to bring the elbows down onto the mat. Right above the shoulders. Let's measure. Perfect. Set up arms. Forearms are parallel to each other. And we're going to move now into a little dolphin press. So curl those toes under, and we're going to push up those hips all the way up. The tailbone is coming way up. And we're going to hinge forward over the hands and back up. And we're going to do 5 of those. That was 1. Back over the hands and 2. Over the hands and 3. Pressing over the hands and 4. One more. Coming over your hands and 5. Dropping those knees down, coming back into our child's pose, which is a little inversion in and of itself. And breathe. One more breath in child's pose. Beautiful job. Coming up. And now we are ready for our headstand, our Sursasana headstand. So we're going to take our time preparing for this. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our base for our head. So we're going to come back into our tabletop again. And the same thing, let's bring those elbows down to the mat. Check the measurement. So they're forearm distance apart. And we're going to bring the hands and cup them together to make a little triangle with our arms. And this is our base for our head. And we're going to bring the head into the base. It's nice and comfortable. And we're going to come up onto our toes. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to begin to walk the feet up closer towards the head. And then we are going to take the right knee and bend the right knee and bring it in towards the body. Snug. And bring it down. Here, bring the left knee, snug it in towards the body. Knee bent and down. And now we're going to do a little pedaling. So we're going to go right knee and left knee. And it kind of cycles. So we may start to move that a little bit quicker. And there may be some moments in here where our feet are suspended. Both are suspended. Then coming back to center. And we're going to invite both knees to come together, up, snug to the body. And then we are going to lift the legs straight up into our headstand. Option is to bring those legs out wide. And when we're done, I'm going to bring those knees back down and bring those knees, feet to the floor and rest in a child's pose. And nice and gently and slowly coming up. And we are going to lay down on our back and do a few little final finishing releases to prepare for Savasana. So laying on our back, take those knees into the chest for a moment and rock back and forth, release that lower back. And bring those feet back on the mat with knees up. We'll go into a few releases. First is our cat-cow on the floor. So we're just going to press the small of the back into the floor. The tailbone curls under in our cat. And moving into cow, tailbone sticks out, back arches up off the mat. And back into our cat. Flexion and extension of the spine. So continue a few more cat-cows at your own pace, your own rhythm. Keeping the breath flowing, natural rhythm of breath. Nice, slow, repetitive movement. Let's do one more of each. And coming back to neutral spine on the back. Let's move into hula. So we're going to take these hips, and the right hip is going to drop down towards the right heel. Back is flat on the mat, does not lift up off the mat, and then the left hip is coming up towards the armpit. And then we swivel those hips the opposite. So the left hip is going to go down towards the left heel. Right hip is going to come in towards the right elbow. And swiveling those hips. Hula. This is called hula. We're just hulaing our hips, releasing and relaxing that lumbar spine, those hips, the pelvis, for a nice savasana. Nice, slow, repetitive movements. Keep the breath flowing naturally. One more on both either side. And coming back to neutral. And we're going to move now into hip pointer. So I'm going to keep this right hip and right butt cheek grounded on the mat. This left hip and the left butt cheek is going to lift up and twist a little so we can point that left hip up diagonally and relax it down. And now we're going to take this left hip and left buttocks and root that into the mat and lift the right hip. So the right hip is pointing up diagonally. These are hip pointers. And relaxing that down. Lifting that left hip. Right hip is rooted in the mat. And relaxing down. With the right hip, left butt cheek is rooted in the mat. Right lifts up a little bit and relaxing down. And doing a few more at your own pace. Hip pointers. Keeping the breath flowing. Keeping the body relaxed. Nice, slow, repetitive movements. We're cooling down now. Done a lot of great work, a lot of great inversions. Brought a lot of energy and prana and vitality to the upper body. One more on either side, both sides. And coming back to neutral. Beautiful job. And we're going to take those knees and we're going to windshield wiper them over to either side. And it might feel more comfortable for you to bring both knees to one side and just lift that top knee, slowly coming over to the other side, allowing that bottom knee to follow eventually. So they're both stacked onto that side. Whichever feels better for you. And now when you get to one side, just stay on that side for a moment. Both legs on either side, both knees stacked. And let's take that lower foot and bring it up to rest on the upper knee. You can take the hands out if you like. This is a nice twist. And turn your head to the opposite direction and taking a couple breaths here in this nice twist. Beautiful. Releasing the foot, bring it back down, and let's moving over to the other side. And once both knees and legs are on the other side, stacked up, we're going to take that lower foot and rest that on the upper knee. And it's only if that feels good. If it does not feel good, just continue to windshield wiper. Turning the head to the opposite side of the knee and breathe. Releasing the foot, bringing the knees back to center. We do one more release. You can relax the arms and let's walk those feet with the knees remaining up to the wide edges of the mat. And let's just drop the knees, single knee drop into the center. Not forcing, just allowing an easy drop. keeping the breath flowing. And coming back to center and making any last movements you need, maybe child's pose or knees to chest. Let's take those knees into the chest and rock back and forth. And then making any movements. We're going to stay on our back, but any little movements you may need, any little adjustments. And if you need a pillow or a blanket, you want to put your socks on or a sweater, this is the time to do that. Get all ready for your savasana, making yourself comfortable in your body. And when you're ready, relaxing the legs straight out, laying flat on your back. You may want a little cushion under your knees. You may want a small pillow under your head. And letting the body completely relax, feeling the body sinking into the earth, into the floor, feeling the body getting heavier, relaxing deeper and deeper, feeling all those muscles relaxing and releasing all the tension, feeling the bones become heavier and sink down towards the earth. Everything is sinking into the earth. The body is deeply relaxed, like a sack of potatoes, sinking into the earth. Every system, every muscle, every bone, every organ is relaxing deeper and deeper. Feeling the heart and circulatory system relax. The lungs and the respiratory system relax and release. The entire endocrine system sinking into deep relaxation. And the brain and entire nervous system more and more relaxed, deeper and deeper relaxation. Peace to the entire body, every cell. And we will rest in silence for a few moments, allowing all the good work to integrate. And beginning to come back Wiggling the fingers and the toes. Taking a nice deep breath, coming back into the body. Getting to stretch out the arms and legs. And gently roll over to one side. A fetal position, and just integrating here for a moment before we sit up. And coming up to a seated position. Coming into easy pose, cross-legged pose, resting the hands on the knees, either palm up or palm down. You could use the chin mudra with the thumb and finger, pointer finger touching. And let's rest in breath awareness for a moment while we scan the body again, noticing any differences from the beginning of the practice. More spaciousness, more calm, possibly. And take this moment now to remind yourself of your intention that you set, reaffirming it silently to yourself, always in the positive and present tense. Bringing your hands to your heart in Anjali Mudra. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is of love, light, truth, and peace. When I am in that place in me, and you are in that place in you, we are one. Namaste. I am Grace. Thank you for being here.